The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, callers, and advisors on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production unit of ILS, the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be represented in part or entirety without the express written consent of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2026. All rights reserved.
Of heartbreak on Bahamian streets, 6 lives lost, including 4 teenagers. Tonight, the Royal Bahamas Police Force is here to answer, is there a road safety crisis in the Bahamas? Also tonight, the Free National Movement asking the police to broaden its investigation into the Eric Gardner matter. We talk about that. Michael Halkitis is talking about the hit his reputation has taken as a result of the back and forth regarding having worked in a company where Eric Gardner has an interest. It's all straight ahead for you tonight. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Families and communities are grappling with overwhelming grief as they mourn the loss of their loved ones whose lives were snuffed out after a brutal car crash that sent shockwaves throughout the nation, triggering an outpouring of reaction from government, stakeholders, and residents. Jose Etienne picks up the story from here.
She was one of them that survived, and it wasn't her, and it's just nerve-wracking.
Then Sandria Wright was one of scores of relatives whose lives were shattered after their loved ones were killed during a horrific car accident early Sunday morning. The crash claimed the lives of 4 teens, one of them being Wright's niece, 18-year-old Patricia Brown, who recently graduated from Agape Christian School in Abaco. The mourning relatives huddled outside the Princess Margaret Hospital morgue, visibly distraught and united by grief as their worst fears awaited confirmation.
My worst nightmares come true.
Her death cuts deep as relatives say they were robbed of witnessing Patricia live out a life filled with promise and potential. The young victim reportedly received a full scholarship to play volleyball in college, and that was a similar case for other victims who recently graduated high school or were already matriculating in university.
They were all females who had a very bright future, and it's just been lost. So you kind of just feel hurt, and empty.
For the surviving relatives, the tragedy has become a cruel repetition of grief, reviving memories of past loss while inflicting a fresh and devastating wound.
My niece has lost both parents, and for her brother and aunts to have to come and deal, it is hard, and they don't know what happened.
What deepened their trauma was the rapid spread of graphic videos documenting the aftermath of the incident, repeatedly exposing them to traumatic scenes of the final moments of those who died.
We need to find something that disallows person to do things like that, because this is very distasteful. Right. And then the comments following it, we don't know if they were drunk, because the autopsy didn't say blood was in their alcohol was in their blood. We don't know if he was speeding, because we don't have the report if there was skid marks or not. It's just a bunch of hearsay, and people assume because they're a bunch of young people that they were out there drunk and partying and whatever. And for families to read that is really, really hard.
Eyewitness News understands the 19-year-old male driver of the incident survived but was left with a broken wrist. The other survivors, a 25-year-old male, 21-year-old male, and a 19-year-old female, are still receiving critical care at the hospital. It is expected that an autopsy will be conducted to determine the exact cause of death. Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
Well, Prime Minister Philip Davis leading a moment of silence in the House of Assembly this morning, a recognition of the 5 young, in fact 6, because Abaco had another traffic fatality earlier today, who lost their lives in separate incidents over the weekend. One of those incidents unfolding on Saturday night involving those 8 individuals, the story that we saw a moment ago from Jose. We heard, of course, that 4 teenage women lost their lives, and Others, of course, another accident in Grand Bahama where another woman lost her life. Here is Prime Minister Davis.
5 young Bahamians, 5 families broken, 5 futures we will never see unfold. There's no speech that can fill the space these young people leave behind. There's no policy that can answer a mother, father, who has lost their child. All that this House can honestly offer today is our presence, our prayers, and our promise. The promise that we will do everything in our power to protect the young people of this nation so that fewer families are made to grieve as these families. So on behalf of the government and the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, I extend our deepest and most sincere condolences to each of the 5 families that bear an unbearable loss.
Well, is there a road safety crisis in the Bahamas? Joining me this evening are Police Press Liaison Officer, Chief Superintendent Sharia King, and Superintendent Karen Jennings of the Police Traffic Division. Officers, thank you all so much for being here. Good evening to both of you.
Thank you for having us.
It really is quite unfortunate what happened. I mean, so many families, communities are numbed tonight. We know that. But, you know, we also want to really kind of just put this into perspective. Before we begin in the discussion, what is your message to the families, 6 of them, communities who are mourning the loss of lives tonight?
Well, first of all, from the Commissioner of Police, Ms. Shanta Knowles, as well as her executives and all the members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, we want to extend our condolences to the family and then to let them know that we are here for them and that our thoughts and prayers are with those that have been injured, the family of those that have been injured. And so that's the first thing we want to do. We want to extend the condolences to them. But Shanique, more importantly, this is a tragic moment not only for those families, but for the entire Bahamian society, because I think this hurt and shook the entire country to have these young persons with such great potential be lost in such a tragedy.
Absolutely. I mean, again, everybody is still shocked. And it's not something you get over quickly and overnight. You know, Superintendent Jennings, if you would like to maybe perhaps extend similar sentiments before we get into the discussion.
Just to piggyback off what Mrs. King stated, you know, this is an era of social media. We advise the family members and persons who are close to the family to stay away from social media because it can be where they are reading things and this is a time for them to grieve and things may be said that may hinder them in the process of grieving. Yes. So at this time, I just admonish them to, you know, just stay away from social media at this time.
Good advice. And tonight's discussion is not intended to pile on or to be insensitive of what's happening right now. It really is to hopefully get all of us on the straight and narrow in that once we are driving a vehicle or a passenger in a vehicle, that we leave home safely and return. Yes. That's really the bottom line. Definitely. And so I'd like to ask you all, what does this say, this weekend alone? I mean, many times on a Friday evening, Leslie Miller would scream over me, you all drive safely this weekend, eh? Because we know what's been happening recently, Chief Superintendent, right? And Superintendent. What does this say about the current state of affairs and road safety in the Bahamas?
Well, Shanique, what I would say is that the Royal Bahamas Police Force spares no efforts. I mean, every single week we send out the carrying call stating to be safe. Our traffic division consistently every week are out there on the streets reminding motorists of how to traverse the streets safely. Our Public Affairs and Communication Department is sending out our PSAs and various flyers to ensure the public is notified and we communicate that we must traverse these streets of our country. And this is not only in New Providence. This is in Grand Bahama, this is in Abaco, this is in all of our family islands, because many of our family islands have also been touched with traffic fatalities. So the police force have been out there, and we just encouraging the general public to just heed our warning, heed our advice, heed our communication, heed our PSAs, because one life save is just, that's what we're trying to do, to save at least one life every single time you traverse the streets.
So the impression is that the police is sometimes lenient when it comes to persons with traffic infractions. How do you respond to that tonight?
Well, I would not say that we are lenient. We have something that we call discretion. But I can say, as the second in charge of the traffic division, we are out there every day. We have the cyclists, we have our mobile division, our mobile section that traverse the streets. And I could say today that our ticket count is way more than it was last year.
Exactly.
So to say that the officers out there sparing people or being lenient, I don't have that information, because our ticket count is way above what it was last year.
So the police is doing its part.
Yes, we are.
Let's talk about youth drivers. What message do you send tonight to first-time drivers, young drivers, who people may feel sometimes they're not exercising perhaps the greatest, measure of just sensible and handling and driving of a vehicle on the streets? What message do you send, and how do you now improve, enhance, ensure that first-time drivers, youth drivers, understand the rules of the road, understand what the laws are as it relates to operating a vehicle on the streets?
What I would say is that it has to start from the home, the parents. We also have young people who are out there working, doing summer jobs, doing jobs after school, and they're saving up and they're buying vehicles. But it starts with the parents. These children bring these vehicles home. You have to ensure that they are a holder of a driver's license, that the vehicles are insured, and they are covered, because we have instances where people insure these vehicles, but they are not covered to drive these vehicles. So the enforcement part of it is there, but also the education of reaching out to the younger people and just letting them know that get your permit, you could get it at 17, get your driver's license, and make sure that you are covered on the vehicle's insurance once you are ready to drive. And once you are ready to drive, listen to all the PSAs. We have billboards, we do PSAs, and sometimes we are even out there handing out flyers and speaking to these drivers.
One of the things also, Shanique, we're talking about these PSAs, but what is in these PSAs is to slow down. If you're late, late is late. You're not going to be no later than late. So take your time. Do not speed. Make certain that when you're overtaking, your way is clear to overtake. Don't be zigzagging in and out of traffic. That is your life, and you have to treasure your life. Make certain that you are not distracted while you're driving. Put the phones down. Nassau is just 21/7. It's going to take you in traffic, about an hour to get where you're going. 1 hour without your cell phone to save your life is better than you being distracted on the cell phone and getting in an accident.
And this is where I want to look at now and take this discussion to. Are you seeing more and more distracted drivers for any number of reasons? Distracted, however it is, particularly with the cell phone?
Our statistics state that there has been an increase in traffic accidents regarding distractions and the cell phones. Not only the cell phones, but people putting on their makeup, trying to eat.
Yes.
Just simple distractions.
Yes.
And we get numerous just rare accidents where people were not paying attention. So it is a call for concern. But as I stated before, we are out there, and if you are caught with your cell phone in your hand, you will be cited. And that's a part of our everyday duties.
Do you think distraction, and I know these investigations are brand new and fresh, but was there perhaps, what are initial investigations showing into these matters that happened over the weekend, whether distracted, whether impaired, speed?
Well, Shanique, you can appreciate we are about 36 hours into the investigation. We're still speaking to witnesses and trying to gather what truly happened during this accident or for this particular incident. And so we do not want to speculate. Our investigation is ongoing, and you will also appreciate that this matter may have to go to coroner's court. And so we have to be very careful and responsible as the Royal Bahamas Police Force in speculating on what could or what did or what might have happened. But we want to make certain that we speak, and when we speak with facts and verifiable information.
And that's understood, totally understandable. Let's look at sort of a point system. You know, in the United States, there's a point deducted from your license, and after so many, your license is suspended.
Yes.
What is it to enforce and ensure that Bahamians are mindful and understand the privilege it is to drive, but also responsibly on the streets? What is being perhaps thought of and put forward to make the streets safer and the driving experience safer?
Okay, so on a regular basis, the Traffic Division, Royal Bahamas Police Force, and the Road Traffic Department, we have meetings to see how we can come together, and also we have lawyers who come in these meetings to see how we could amend some laws and change
the police is trying to put forward some suggestions of its own.
Yes. So we are trying to change the system where you would have, it's not really a point system, but more like if you have an offense, you will have to do classes, then it get more stringent the more you offend. And it would lead to probably your suspension of your license or even having it taken away permanently.
Yes. Do you all feel, and obviously you're discussing and have been putting forward suggestions in meetings to firm up the traffic laws and people who violate those laws, but are current penalties that are in place, do you think they're sufficient?
Well, the penalties can be more stringent, but over the past years, as we've seen that some of the laws were changed, amended, especially when it came to traffic fatalities. So there are some things in motion and continuously. So we are working at that end to probably increase the fines and increase some of the penalties.
And I agree with Superintendent Jennings. I truly believe that as we progress as a country, we have to review, adjust, and adapt to what is going to be best. What are we seeing? What are the trends we're seeing? And I think the initiatives that he spoke about is one such way of us doing it.
Yes, now let's go back to the public and public appeal tonight. You see many people just, again, driving with such reckless abandonment, right? How do you speak tonight to anyone, whether they be a first-time driver, a youth driver, or seasoned motorists, but again, who do the things on the street, who has the phone in their hand driving, who is distracted with whatever else it could be, on the road, behind the wheel of a vehicle, and again, moving on the streets?
Okay, so I would say in the last 10 years, the amount of vehicles that has increased on the streets has increased tremendously. Some houses have 3 and 4 cars. So driving now is very much different from driving 10 years ago. Everybody has access to vehicles. So I'd say to just be careful. You'll see that the traffic is more heavier. Even sometimes when you get out in the morning early, you want to get out early, but early don't mean nothing anymore.
No,
6:30, 7 o'clock.
Or the school,
traffic.
School being closed don't mean nothing.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
yes. So there's no need to rush. And the life you save may be your own, but also as a driver, you have to be cognizant of other people. You may, because we see a lot of accidents, people will be driving safe, and someone just, by accident, that's what it is, an accident, collide into you. So I just admonish people to drive safe, drive slow. You're gonna get where you're going. Put your seatbelt on. Put the kids in the seat in the car seats.
Seats, yeah.
And make sure everybody in the car has on their seatbelt.
Yes.
That's important as well.
Very much so.
Chief Superintendent, do you have any final remarks?
I piggyback off of Superintendent Jennings, and that is just be careful. Do not be distracted. Everything that you're being distracted for can wait until you reach your destination. That is what I would say.
Thank you very much. Can we expect, I guess, more enforcement and stronger presence in the weeks, months, and obviously beyond?
Well, what I would say is we've been there, Shanique. We've been out there doing our job, but that we are not going to let up in making certain that the Bahamian public continue to be notified and communicated to, and ensure that they know that as we traverse the streets, we have to do it courteously among everyone.
I thank you very much, Chief Superintendent Sharia King, Superintendent Karen Jennings of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Thank you, officers, very, very much, and thank you for being here this evening after such a tragic weekend.
Yes.
Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, the Hot Topics panel will give their views on all that's taken place over the weekend, and also we're going to look at some Parliament news. It's all straight ahead tonight on Beyond the Headlines.
Hey, it's your boy Charlie Bahama here at Superwash, Superwash's newest spokesmodel. And I'm here to tell you about Superwash's large capacity washers and dryers for all your big loads.
I know I see that Charlie Banana coming here just now.
Uh-oh. Luckily, it's also big enough for me to hide it.
I thought he was right over here where these large capacity washer and dryers is. They're big enough now to handle your big loads, you know. Yeah, like your comfort on your blanket. But just look at us. Somebody forget to turn on the dryer. Oh, stop! Damn! You hear something? Yeah, that's the sound of clean. Superwash washes your process you add and change them 24/7.
Did you know that when you shop at cbsbahamas.com, you can see directly into our vendors' warehouses? What that means is even if we only have a dozen of an item available in store, you can order virtually as many as you want directly from our vendors and have it delivered to your doorstep in just 10 to 14 days. You don't have to worry about shipping, imports, duties, or any of the hard stuff. Our back order program is unique, and it's only at cbsbahamas.com.
This year, Island Luck Sportsbook sent one of their very own customers all the way to San Antonio to watch Game 5 of the NBA Finals. The Knicks closed it out right then and there. No Game 6, no Game 7. Our customer was sitting in that arena the night the championship was decided. That's the kind of luck we talking about at Island Luck Sportsbook. Winners live here. Must be 18 and over. Island Luck reminds you that it's only a game, so please game responsibly.
Wealth should not only belong to a select few. At Investar, we believe the door should be open to everyone. We provide options for planning a better future. Our investment funds are designed to assist you in reaching your long-term financial goals. Let us show you how.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you all tuned in this evening. Of course, quite an unfortunate weekend, and our thoughts and prayers are with the families and communities and everyone impacted this evening. Well, I'm going to now bring in the Hot Topics panel just to give their views and thoughts in it on all that's transpired, on what the police has said, they are now pushing for, which are firmer laws and just sort of new introductions and enhancements to the traffic laws so that motorists on the streets again drive more responsibly. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, Leslie Miller, Michael Turnquest, Howard Johnson. Gentlemen, good evening to you.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, colleagues. Good evening, Thomas.
It's quite unfortunate.
Good evening, colleagues. Good to see you, Leslie.
Thank you, sir. I can't get beat again.
You can't get, Leslie, be quiet. Be quiet and stay focused. But thanks for the comic relief. Seriously, thank you. Howard, I'll explain to you after. Listen, so gentlemen, we heard the police a moment ago, again, making their plea, but we saw just the destruction and loss of life on the streets here in New Providence, Grand Bahama, Abaco over the weekend. Your thoughts on everything that's happened?
Shanique, it's very unfortunate. I really don't want to say much on what would have happened with the accident, whether it be in Grand Bahama, but I hope that this is a lesson, and people would, even the police, make people see what, we just need to be careful on our streets. We just need to use, I know at one point the police used to have a setup showing you, what can happen with a car in a car crash in terms of, whether it be, casualties or whether it be, injuries. But, people need to use this as an example, and whether it be kids, whether it be adults, the roads, cars are not, they're not walls of steel. I mean, these things are meant to, they're man-made, they aren't going to,
They close up on in a minute.
And I think we drive these things like, that we're invincible. And, we just have to be very careful. We have to be, whether it be wet roads, whether it be, the little small vehicles we see swerving in and out of traffic, throughout the day, we just have to, and even when you drive a vehicle, you can't just drive for yourself. You have to drive for other people. You have to be very cautious of people around you, because people are skylarking, doing foolishness on the road, and you just have to be very careful.
Howard? Yeah, Shanique, my condolences to the family of the persons who lost their lives, and also I pray for strength and resolve for the family members and relatives and friends of the persons who are still fighting for their lives, and as they convalesce after they get through it. It was a tragic weekend for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and it's so sad to see these young people who had so much time ahead of them, or so we thought, to lose their lives in such a terrible way. I mean, words can't even express what these people are going through. And to show you how small the Bahamas is, when you look at all of the persons who lost their lives over the weekend, I think there was a young lady who lost her life in Grand Bahama,
yes,
and a gentleman who lost his life in Abaco as well.
Yes.
And when you look at those people, including the 4 and the injured from Nassau, you could say that everybody in the Bahamas knows somebody who was connected to the people who've lost their lives and the people who are related to them or in their circle. This is how small the Bahamas is. So when we say this is a loss for Bahamian society, It's touched everybody, Shanique, and I really hope that we begin to seriously pay attention to what's going on our streets. And also, quickly, I want to address some of the things that are going on in terms of that social media. You know, I know Chief Superintendent Jennings said that people should stay away from social media. Well, that's only one part of it, you know. Yeah, people should stay away from social media sometimes, but people also have to be responsible because you can't tell somebody, family member, to stay away from social media. The people who record, you know, they pick up their phones and they record and ask questions later or don't ask questions at all. But everybody feels like they have a right to record and they have a right to do these things until it's them that situation.
And then,
you see,
and then
when it's
go
them,
and post
then
it.
it's a problem.
Everybody looking for likes.
To go, likes and shares.
No, I want to start by expressing my deepest sympathy and really express sympathy for all Bahamians on the tragic loss of 6 lives over the weekend. I mean, it's a situation that is so deafening and so painful. Only those of us who lose a loved one realize the parents, especially the mother and the father and the sisters and brothers, the uncles and aunts, their friends. These young girls were ready to go off to school, to colleges. Some had scholarships, and their life was just cut short. You know, we have to do better. You know, you got to ask the first question. It's 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. A car full with 8 kids driving. I always tell my grandchildren, I want to be at after 12 o'clock, man. They're supposed to be home. There's so much out there it's so destructive. The lady in Grand Bahama really hurt me when persons went on Facebook and, putting these things out there that she was drinking at the party. I mean, they have no regard for the pain and suffering that these families go through. It bothers me. We almost like savages, We just like to hear things. That's bad.
Until it's us.
I trust that God would get into the minds and hearts of the parents, the lost ones, loved ones, and ease their pain. Because that could be more tragic than sending your kids out especially one young girl from Cat Island. She came in living with her with her grandfather and met her for the first time and didn't return home. I mean, what does he tell his children, that your daughter dead? And people need to be more sensitive in our country, man. There's no sensitivity. There's no love. And that's what we've lost. The love to share the grief that others face. And I trust that God will get the hearts of everyone and make us a better people and just express our deepest sympathy on the tragic loss of life for those 6 persons.
Wise words, Leslie.
Disheartening.
Wise words. Well, shifting gears, there is a demand by the Free National Movement to the police to expand its investigation involving alleged Bahamian drug trafficker Eric Gardner. And of course, that call ended with an uproar in the House of Assembly. Linton Ritchie Jr. has the story.
The reputation of the House. Tell us who politician one is on that side.
Yet another verbal blowout stemming from the Free National Movement's commitment to presenting concerns related to a U.S. court matter involving alleged Bahamian drug trafficker Jonathan Eric Gardner. F&M leader Michael Pintard calling for an expansion of investigation into Gardner's alleged financial crimes following recent court rulings, which reports that on May 11, 2026, Gardner reportedly withdrew $20,000 from top-notch builders despite not being listed as a director or president of the company since 2017. According to filings at the Registrar General's office, Samson Heald has been listed as the beneficial owner of Top Notch since 2016.
To carry out a forensic review of the company's bank accounts, the KYC records held by the banks, the list of signatories, and the full transaction history to determine how long Mr. Gardner has controlled these funds and to determine how these monies have flowed.
In the letter written to the Commissioner of Police, Shanta Knowles, Pintard wrote that the disconnect, quote, between recorded ownership and actual control of funds is highly significant. He suggested that the acts could be linked to alleged money laundering. Now, while Pintard sought to bring his letter to the halls of Parliament, it was immediately shut down by House Speaker Patricia DeVoe, who declared that the investigation was before the Committee of Privilege. However, Minister of Foreign Affairs Fred Mitchell took grave exception to what he saw as Pintard defying the Speaker's orders, insisting that from his view, the FNM is seeking to paint the country in a negative light. As he highlighted headlines locally and internationally surrounding the Election Day plane crash and subsequent Gardner findings,
they think that all of us are suddenly drug barons or infested by crime, that we're corrupt, that we're crooked, and so on and so forth. Every day there's drumbeat with this rubbish, and we're not.
As for conversations surrounding the U.S. affidavit, the indictment, and the overall investigation into Gardner, DeVoe doubled down on her ban against such mentions in the lower chamber.
When that particular committee reports, then the floor is open. Okay?
Nevertheless, in its letter to the top cop, the FNM asserts new evidence points to alleged, quote, misuse of corporate and financial systems to conceal ownership, control financial flows, and obscure the origin of funds. Therefore, the party calls for a thorough and proper investigation. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
Gentlemen, no doubt that back and forth will continue until either the case happens or Gardner is sent back home and the House committee reports its findings. One politician who continues to find himself embroiled in the Eric Gardner case due to a brief term held as an executive of top-notch builders, Michael Alcides. Well, today he spoke out. The finance minister and member of parliament for St. Barnabas says during his contribution that he is concerned regarding how he is being portrayed in the public eye. He likened the reference now to the ending of the last Christie administration when he was accused of stealing the VAT money.
I had to listen to my daughter come home from school and say to me that the children were telling her, your daddy is going to jail because the day after the election, the chairman of the then FNM said, well, we know no money was stolen. We knew it always went into the consolidated fund. Madam Speaker, politics, I always tell people the qualification for running for the House of Assembly is you have to be 21 years old. So this is big man and big woman things. I watch, Madam Speaker, some of the commentary and some of the things that are being put out there. And it cast me back to that time. And I am hopeful, but I'm not hopeful. I don't expect anything better. No. But it would be good in the fullness of time when everything is revealed. Yes. That those who so gleefully seek to scandalize your name with the same alacrity and enthusiasm. Apologize.
Well, gentlemen, there you have it. So the country's reputation continues to be dragged even from on the floor of Parliament as questions continue to go back and forth and remarks exchanged between sides opposite. And then, of course, you heard Alcides say how he is being impacted as well as his family. Your thoughts on this? Now, we know that there's been a committee appointed in Parliament to do their own investigation. Pintard says, listen, he's sent a letter to the commissioner for her to expand and broaden the investigation by the police force. Your thoughts on how this continues to be that big elephant in the room?
You know, Shanique, I think, the reality is this is a ongoing investigation, ongoing court case. And we, just as I think, we get the information as it comes out of the U.S. courts, piece and piece, I think it just trickles on down, but when it comes to, when it comes to companies, like, you either, me working for a company, Mr. Miller, anyone, any one of us can be caught up in something of this, whether it be, some of the big banks who go through, you see scandals, whether it be money laundering and things all the time, at the end of the day, if you're not the actual individual who has access, when I say access to those funds where you can go and take all the money out as you wish, put it back in, any one of us can get caught up in I call it, we call it a scandal or an investigation that's currently ongoing. Because at the end of the day, I am not, if I work for a company, I'm not the owner of the company. Sometimes most of us who work for these large corporations, we don't even know who's the actual shareholders. And, so I mean, at the end of the day, let the investigation continue, let the apples fall where they may, and at the end of the day, the truth will come out, and who is then accused will be, and that's we just feel as though we're beating a dead horse at the end of the day, and all day wasting time when other things can be being done, and when the matter is concluded, then we say, okay, we know who's lying and who's not.
Yeah, Shanique, sometimes when you're making political arguments versus legal arguments, things can get a little dicey, right? So let me tell you what I think personally is fair. That Mr. Pintard, in his capacity as the leader of the opposition and an elected member of the House of Assembly in the Bahamas, Mr. Pintard can ask questions about a principal or someone connected to a company that is doing business with the government of the Bahamas, as far as their finances, what they are doing, whether they're above board. He can ask those questions. I believe that those questions are fair about any company that is doing business with the government of the Bahamas. Now, what I think is beyond the pale is when you are asking the government of the Bahamas, when you are asking the commissioner of police to do something about a legal matter that took place in the United States waters by United States law enforcement officials.
Do with us.
The law enforcement officials that picked up Mr. Gardner and took him into custody and are in the process of prosecuting him to the fullest extent of American law. They have to do what they have to do. That has nothing to do with Brave Davis and his government and what's going on in that company until and unless the United States presents its final findings as the conclusion of the U.S. courts. Now, what I would be doing if I were Prime Minister Davis, because someone named as politician 1, right, which could be anybody, it could be someone in the PLP or the FNM, or someone who is no longer in Parliament. We don't know. This is 2024, before election. But the point is, right, if I were Prime Minister Davis, I would be concerning myself with, well, there's a possibility that this
Leslie, jump in.
You know, I think we got to ask one question before we go too far with this situation. I thought that in the Western Hemisphere, under the Westminster system, a person is generally viewed to be not guilty. They have to be found guilty. That they are innocent until proven guilty. In this situation, Mr. Pintard, the man is already guilty. He should be hung. And I'm telling you from my own experience on the campaign trail for the last 18 months, the one complaint the average women had against Mr. Pintard is that the man say the same thing over and over and over. You talk to women, say, Portcake, I get tired. I get tired of hearing him with the same, and I can't vote for him. The man wouldn't quit. Why are you doing this? The man was picked up in international waters. Has nothing to do with the Bahamas. The police force, you directing people what to do. This is not a case for us. The United States brought charges against him, not the Bahamas. Let the case go forward. When you get the findings, then discuss this in Parliament. Say, I want some answers from the government. If the government had any involvement with this man, let the country know what it is. But for Christ's sake, man, give it a rest. Be tired.
You know, I think. But you know, I think a question could be, you know, some of the details as it relates to, you know, to Mr. Gardner withdrawing funds from the bank, you know, and I don't know whether his name appears on the documents or a signatory, or whatever, however it may be. Because I mean, everything is so misconstrued in terms of, you know, all the details. You know, some saying his name is not there, some saying he is a signatory. He was the one that went to the bank withdrawing the cash. You know, at the end of the day, you know, maybe the banks need to, whether they relay the information or clear some things up, you know, but there's...
Well, I imagine, again, the investigation, because the bank ain't just going to volunteer.
And then with regard to Michael Keatis, he is a man who's been trying to make a valuable contribution to our countries. He's been in Parliament. His wife is a doctor. He has 2 kids at college. You know, when these kids go to school, they have pairs, you know. You see your daddy's a thief. Your daddy's a drug. And they say that.
Yeah.
And you got to be wary of that, man, because it's a painful thing for your son or daughter to come home crying. Daddy, they should use a drug dealer, use fool around with these drugs. It is not fair to the children and the family, man. Show some sensitivity. It can happen to you.
Gentlemen, of
But
course, this
he-
story isn't something that's going away.
never
We certainly will continue to follow this and see exactly where it leads. As you said, Michael, whatever the investigation reveals, then of course this is what we discuss and what it is that we hope that everyone is held accountable if there is a need for that. And if not, let's just move on with the business of the country. Meanwhile, though, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are perhaps going to certainly get to something with the Christian Council and something they're addressing, and then a little bit later, an effort by Verizon Media. Tell you more about that after the break.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods. Taste the difference.
Edenwell has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madera Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay Eden well.
Husband and all this shit, man.
The Bahamas Christian Council is extending condolences to the families and loved ones of 5 young women who lost their lives in Sunday's tragic traffic accident in New Providence. In a statement, the Christian Council described the deaths as not only devastating for the families, but also profound loss for the nation, saying the young victims represented promise, talent, and the future of the Bahamas. The council is calling on churches throughout the country to support the grieving families through prayer and counseling, practical assistance, and pastoral care. It is also encouraging Bahamians to continue remembering the families in prayer in the weeks and months ahead as they cope with their loss. You all, I thought this was something to do with on sexual assaults. I'm not seeing that script. So in any event, let's just move forward. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, Science and Technology, Chester Cooper, chiming in on a proposed local full medical school in partnership with the University of the West Indies. This comes amid efforts within the industry and by the government to increase the number of qualified Bahamians in the healthcare industry as shortages in healthcare sector persists.
We support all efforts in terms of education and training. We met with UWI a few days ago. They shared their plans with us. We have been training, doing the clinical training for doctors for a long time. Once they leave the University of West Indies and completed their academics. They come to PMH for ongoing training. That is going to continue. We've produced some of the best doctors that's practicing in the country. We support UWI. We have a subvention of about $6 million to UWI every year. We support UB, of course, our premier tertiary institution. We're doing great things at BTVI. We're going to be looking to build a new campus at BTVI. We're looking at a new school in New Providence and all across the Family Islands. So the plans are in the works.
Of course, this Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper speaking of a new proposed health campus for University of the West Indies to be able to assist with the shortages in healthcare and have Bahamians qualified in filling those jobs. Well, the Bahamas Christian Council has announced the creation of a commission of crimes against women to examine the factors contributing to violence against women and identify ways to strengthen, prevent, and create accountability while supporting the victims. The announcement follows the reported sexual assault of a 91-year-old woman last week. In a statement, the council described the incident as not only a crime against an individual, but also a reflection of what it called a growing moral crisis in the country. While expressing support for law enforcement efforts to bring the perpetrator to justice, the council stressed that lasting solutions will require stronger moral leadership from families, churches, schools, and communities working together to address the root causes of violence. Your thoughts, gentlemen. We discussed it last week, but the sexual assault of a 91-year-old woman and the Christian Council calling and announcing the creation of a commission on crimes against women so that those laws are strengthened and women, regardless of their age, is further protected.
You know, Shanique, this isn't the first or second time, and you hear men committing crimes. It's, I mean, it should not be done on anyone. I don't care if it's a woman, man, whatever it may be. At the end of the day, a 91-year-old who is, something has to be wrong. I mean, with the fabric of our country, or young men in our country, whether it be young, old, to even think such a thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's your grandmother, somebody's mother. I mean, something really needs to be. Those type of people, I think, should be put. They should not even put in jail. If they are to be put in jail, they should be lost in jail, never to be seen again. I mean, that I just can't fathom. Who would think, sit down and think to do such a thing. I mean, that
wasn't the first one,
And that's my point.
But who would be, I mean, for whomever this man is, to be so hard up.
Man, a very close family member. I understand.
And this is just something that happens. This is not. And I don't know if this happened in New Providence, but it's something that happens on the Family Islands. Whether it be young kids.
To be so warped.
It's something. These things that need to be addressed. These things that not the victims, but these persons need to be made known to the public.
And that is why the Sexual Offenders Registry that has been knocked down and called off by Sandra Dean Patterson. The government has then agreed with her that the Sexual Offenders Registry should not be made public.
And the minister doesn't want it either.
But gentlemen, your thoughts about all of this, Howard?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the Sexual Offenders Registry should be made public. I mean, because if it's not made public and if you don't know who is where, I mean, you have a public Sexual Offenders Registry here in the state of Florida where I live. And those offenders can't live within certain distances of schools and places of worship and other places like that, right? And they have restrictions on them with where they can go, where they can work, what they can do. And that is as a result of the Offenders Registry being public. I know, that's another matter. I don't want to stay on that for too long, but I want to get on the 91-year-old. That's not only someone's mother, that's a great-grandmother. Mm-hmm. That is a great-grandmother. This is a 91-year-old, right? Almost 100. And people who commit these kind of heinous crimes should be hung upside down by their genitalia and then castrated. I mean, we are talking about straightening the laws. There are some things, Shanique, that are beyond the pale and should get maximum. I'm talking about the biblical type justice, okay?
Yeah.
You can't just put these people in jail and give them 3 hots and a cot, they call it, you know, and we be feeding them our taxpayers' money until they get out or for the rest of their life. Upside down by your genitals and then castrate you.
But you realize it's people like them that cause innocent people, whether it be fathers, family members, to do other heinous crimes because they out of anger. These people should be known to the public, so at least the families or myself or anybody know that this is the person who's among us, and we need to know we cannot leave any type.
Exactly.
This is what they make innocent people become animals.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know.
Good point. Good point.
Since COVID, so much has happened in our country, as in many countries around the world, you know. There was a study done in England and elsewhere in Europe and the United States. And the advent of COVID has caused men to get in so much trouble with raping little girls and little boys and what have you. I mean, we realize that COVID probably came out of the darkest part of hell. But for what took place last week, it's not the first time a lady over 90 has been raped.
Yep.
It's not the first time.
It's not.
And yet we stand back as a country and we're going to say that, you know, leave that alone. Let it slide.
But who are we protecting?
So here we are protecting those who are. Think about that, man. Think about a great-great-grandmother that she's going to meet her God and make her shortly. And that's the trauma that she faced before she leave home. She's going to die pretty soon because of that. I mean, where's the conscience? Where's the humanity?
Again,
where's the humanity?
Who are we protecting? Who certainly
it has to be.
Mike, who you protecting?
It has to be a group of individuals that they want to protect. They don't want their names to get out. It has to be something. Because I can't. To me, I cannot imagine why you would want to keep those names from hide those names from the public.
Yeah, we will certainly. We will continue to discuss that matter about that sexual offenders registry. Meanwhile, gentlemen, next week on July 9th, join Verizon Media Group along with the Eyewitness News team. 103.5 The Beat, Eye on the Nation, and Beyond the Headlines at our blood drive being held right here at the ILTV studios from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. as we do our part to help assist in tackling the shortage of blood at the country's blood bank. We hope to see you all next week, right before Independence Day, for this community event. There is the flyer on the screen. Certainly, of course, take note, make notes of it, and looking forward to seeing you next week. Meanwhile, I am so grateful to Chief Superintendent King, Superintendent Jennings. Thank you both for being here. The Hot Topics panel, Leslie Miller, Michael Turnquest, Howard Johnson, thank you as well, gentlemen. And a huge thank you to all of you for tuning in this evening. It's certainly been awesome having you here. I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.
And could you please drive careful this time?